The U.S. has reportedly decided to return to the UN Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. According to a report by Barak Ravid in Axios, the U.S. has privately informed UNESCO of the decision nearly 6 years after the Trump administration withdrew U.S. membership. And now we're back to discuss with Dr. Fadi Ismail. Fadi, we were there just before. Now, in October 2017, the Trump administration announced it was leaving UNESCO over what it described as anti-Israel bias. Israel quit the organization not long after that. Has the group become less anti-Israel?
No, yeah, of course there's anti-Israel bias. The question is, was and still is, was it the correct course of action to just withdraw from UNESCO? All you did there is you left the field open to everyone. Generally speaking, I'm not a very big fan of withdrawing from places and cutting relationships with people and pouting and sulking in the corner. I don't think that is a very positive course of action, no matter the situation. If you think that there is of course an anti-Israeli bias, no doubt about that. But there are many ways to engage it, and just disengaging, going away and leaving, all it did, it's left the field open to everyone else. And we have to understand, again, the U.S. today is not the U.S. of 1992, okay? This is not the same one unipolar, single superpower in the world that can simply say how things are going to happen, and they will. This is not the world we live in now today. There are any number of other forces in the world that can continue to operate in UNESCO and elsewhere without the help of the U.S., and they're doing that. So withdrawing for things, canceling things, as I said, running away from them, that doesn't do anything. You want to stay inside, stay in the game, and influence as much as you can. Also, the thing is, in politics, you don't have, or especially in diplomacy, you don't have vacuum. If you go out, other superpowers will come in, other forces will come in. China, India, Russia, big Muslim countries, Iran, Turkey, all kinds. You can't just leave the field. Somebody else will take over. And there is no shortage of money in the world that can come instead of your money. So it's like, why do that? Go back in and fight a good fight.
I wanted to ask you, in February 2022, the Israeli government notified the State Department that it wouldn't oppose U.S. return to UNESCO. The Israeli position paved the way for some members of Congress to support the move. So Israel said it was okay, no?
Israel has no other choice. This business of playing I'm so upset with the world. And yeah, UNESCO has been passing decisions and resolutions that don't work in favor of the Israeli main political line. You have to go back there. And so they discovered, the Israeli government, the Israeli establishment, and generally all the pro-Israeli axis, if we call it like this, that those kinds of punishments and going up on some moral high ground and yelling from the top of it no longer works. Now there are other forces in the world that will take over and take UNESCO in whichever direction they want. You don't like what's going on there? Go back, engage, and see what you can do. Israel has no other choice but to engage all of these bodies, and now we see that not being there is more harmful than being there. This is what we have been trying to say for years. Even if you disagree with the resolutions, at least your voice is heard, and someone will hear it, you know. But I guess I'm not a fan of breaking away from international bodies. I'm not a fan of violating international standards as much as possible, because in the end, we cannot just break up with the world. It doesn't work that way. It's not a romantic relationship. We have interest in everybody and every organization and every treaty that exists anywhere, and we have to be there all the time.
Now, in short, is this issue important enough that Israel would openly oppose actually the return of the U.S. to the UNESCO? And also, once the U.S. is back in, might Israel choose to really re-enter as well?
Sure. I mean, do you want, the question for the Israeli government is, do you want your voice to be heard or not? That's the bottom line. The culture, UNESCO is supposed to be some kind of a gatekeeper or an archivist of some sort of the world culture and heritage. Do you or do you not if you want to be a part of that, you have to be there. And otherwise, your voice will not be heard. And only the voice of those who are trying to, are not necessarily in your favor, only those voices will be heard. So why? Why leave it to someone else? Even if you can't influence the resolution, at least on the record, it's there. Who knows what happens in 5 years? Climates can change. And by the way, who says that every position that we take is correct? It can also be sometimes that we're 70% correct, or 30%, or 50%. So we need to be able to engage the world around us, voice the opinion, even if people don't respect that or don't accept it, but at least you are in the fight. If you are away from the fight, you're just behaving like a teenager. I'm sorry. I don't like saying that way, but I think there was some adolescence to this idea that will just break away from these things. I disagree with that.
Dr. Fadi Ismail, very interesting insights here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.